back. We never really left. we are we decided to make this a two-parter, so two episodes. This episode we're going to focus more at Sammy's suggestion on how the Holocaust actually happened. And Sammy, this should be your podcast today. You will lead this one, okay? Because you were there, um, and without further ado, I think, Sammy, why don't you just, begin, educate us.
Okay. Very good. Again, hi everybody. Uh, Everything happens, you know, because something causes. Nothing happens in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of people, and I understand Holocaust deniers, why they're saying that the Holocaust did not happen because they don't know the history, okay, how it started, when it started, and there are a lot of misconceptions.
But what do you say to people that see a photo or see footage and they still deny it?
Well, I tell the young people, or actually everybody, I ask the question, I'm going to ask you the question. What happens if you talk to a fool?
A fool? Nothing. I mean, you can't get through to a fool.
Yeah, something happens.
What
Two
happens?
fools, two fools will talk to each other. Nobody's going to convince the other one. It's
True.
useless. And
That's
I
true.
am saying, okay, and I teach the young people, you cannot change anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You can change only somebody's perspective. But to be able to change somebody's perspective, you have to be knowledgeable on the subject that you are interested.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not interested in the Holocaust deniers.
Right.
I do not read their articles of whatever they put in. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not be able to persuade somebody to my
Right.
point of view.
Right.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I would not talk to a Holocaust denier.
Okay.
It's a
Smart.
waste of breath. Okay, uh, to give an example, what I mean by by different perspective. Everybody, or almost everybody, knows that 6 million Jews were murdered.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a number. I cannot relate to it. Okay, I cannot visualize 6 million. So what I do is I try to bring it to a common denominator. If you would be on your feet and silent for every victim of the Holocaust, 6 million minutes, you would be on your feet and silent for 11 and a half years. It's a totally different perspective than using the word 6 million, okay, in 11 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's something you can relate to it, and that's why I teach the young people, even the adults, everybody, okay, be knowledgeable on the subject that you are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Are you interested in climate change? Okay, educate yourself in it. Are you
Mm-hmm.
interested in Israel? Educate yourself. Are you interested in the clash between Palestinians and Israel? Educate yourself. There are so many subjects, but you have to be educated on that particular subject.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is an expert on every subject. And
That's
just
true.
pretending that you're an expert does not help, does not persuade anybody.
True. It's
Okay.
very true.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not trying to embarrass you,
Okay.
but it's with your permission only. And I want to know how much you know.
Oy. Okay.
Are you comfortable with that?
I think so. I think so. I'm
Okay.
scared,
You're scared. Okay. No,
but that's
because,
okay.
but this is how we learn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing that can happen if you say, I don't know, I'll tell you. Nothing will happen.
True.
Now,
That's valid. Nothing's going to. Okay. So,
okay,
yes.
okay, and it's more interesting. It's even for the audience, okay, to understand you are Jewish. Okay, I don't remember if your family went through the Holocaust or not, or members of your family, but even Jewish people do not know the history, how it
Hmm.
happened.
Hmm.
Okay, so are you comfortable? I just want to make sure. I don't want to embarrass you.
Yes, I'm comfortable.
Good. When do you think, okay, the beginning of the Holocaust started? What year?
Well, I know the war was started in 1939, but the Holocaust itself was much earlier.
Okay, let me put it in a different way.
Okay.
It all started with the end of World War One.
Okay.
Okay, what happened is when Germany lost the war,
Hmm.
okay, there was the Treaty of Versailles with three punishments so severe that the German population lost their national pride. And Hitler, knowing what happened, was very evil, but very smart. I would
Hmm.
even say a genius. He said, German people, the German army, the Wehrmacht did not lose the war. We were betrayed by the communists. The communists always came first
Mm.
because they were feared. Even the Cold War was against the communists. Even today, we are fighting China and Russia,
Hmm.
North Korea. Interestingly enough, the Jews were hated.
Hmm.
So he said we were betrayed by the communists and by the Jews. He also had another thing that people have to remember. He said, a lie told long enough becomes truth. Okay, so the three punishments were as follows. He had to return all the occupied land. They could not have an army. I have seen pictures that in a military parade, instead of having guns, they had, okay, shovels. And number three, they had to pay reparation to all of the countries they fought against. And that caused inflation. People do not know what inflation is. You're looking at it on a personal level.
Hmm.
But as a nation, it can cause a lot of harm. And take a look what happened. In 1917, $1 was worth 4 German money.
Wow.
At the height of the inflation in 1923, $1 was worth 1 trillion. You could have a wheelbarrow full of paper money and you could not buy a newspaper. Nobody wanted it. They used it to warm themselves up in the winter.
Oh my
Those
God.
were the conditions that allowed somebody like Hitler to come to power. And that's why I'm stressing do not make comparisons to the past. Learn from the past.
Hmm. Hmm.
We also, the other thing that we do not do, we dismiss hate groups. They start very small, but by not reacting in time and appropriately,
Hmm.
they gain power, and it comes to a point that it's almost impossible to go back.
Hmm.
And that's what happened in Germany. Uh, Hitler, in his uh, Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels,
Hmm.
I would say they were geniuses when it came to propaganda and
Hmm.
brainwashing.
Hmm. I would agree with
Okay.
that.
How many members did Hitler have when he started the Nazi Party?
I don't know that.
6.
6. 6.
And he was, okay, and they said, oh, he's a nobody. Okay, nothing to fear about it.
Mm.
Through propaganda brainwashing, okay, in 1932, 30% of the German population voted for him. Okay. And what was his initial goal? I'm using you as an example, and I'm very happy that you're willing to share it with me to show how little people know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. So let me ask you a question. What was Hitler's initial goal regarding the Jewish people?
Well, was it annihilation? I know it was to make one superior race.
Yes, but regarding the Jewish people,
Complete annihilation?
no.
What was it?
To have a Germany free of Jewish people. Okay, but why would the Jews wanted to leave? They
Mm-hmm.
lived there for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
They were assimilated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they considered themselves Germans. They proudly fought for Germany in World War One.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they want to leave?
Mm-hmm.
So in 1935, Hitler came out with the Nuremberg Laws. And in the Nuremberg Laws, okay, he went against the Jews. Okay, and he did it in a very clever way. One of the things is, remember when I told you about inflation? When I was in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
the seventh graders knew the answer. They teach them in detail in Germany. They
Right,
knew
I've
the
heard
answer.
that. I've heard that.
Right. They teach them in details. So anyway, so what happened is right now, okay, he started to boycott their stores. Okay, made propaganda, used the media, okay, for him to do it in a very effective way. I would say when it came to propaganda, he was actually a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and okay, a lot of the people decided to leave. Where would they go? They went to the neighboring countries,
Mm-hmm.
to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did the world know? Okay, what happened? Yes. Did they react in time and appropriately? No. The propaganda was the Olympics in 1936,
Mm-hmm.
a very
Mm-hmm.
good example in everything else. The other interesting thing, the Germans are law-abiding citizens, even today. To illustrate what I mean by that, 65 miles an hour in the United States is the benchmark. In Germany, it is the speed limit. So in the law,
Mm-hmm.
Nuremberg laws, okay, they said German people do not associate yourself with the Jewish neighbors and with your Jewish friends. And because it was the law, they felt patriotic to do so. Okay. But interestingly enough, they were not violent. Okay. Since people did not react in time, and I'm not going to repeat it all the time, but I'm saying people did not react in time,
Mm-hmm.
it kept escalating.
Was that
So
because of the
comes now
time?
19.
Like, was that because did people not react in time because propaganda was spread differently? I mean, now it takes zero point 0.3 seconds, but back then it took longer.
No.
No.
It took longer at that particular time because it did not have the internet, which everything is
Exactly.
instant.
Exactly.
Okay. So it took longer, but right now we have the social media,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which does the same thing but a little faster. Okay?
Right. So,
Right.
so the lack of social media, I'm saying, did people react at a slower rate then because they received the propaganda more slowly, therefore they were quote
Correct.
unquote late?
Correct. And besides also because they were afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of
Okay?
course.
Like today, because they don't want to be out of the mainstream. Did they have small groups of people that resisted? Yes. You had the young people in an organization called White Rose, young people. Okay. They had certain groups, but not in a large scale.
Mm-hmm.
So it kept escalating. And in 1938, they annexed a neighboring country in the north,
Hmm.
Austria,
Okay.
and that became part of the Greater Germany.
Hmm.
And in Austria, they had 2 days of riots in November 9 and November 10. Okay, uh, they were called, what is it known today?
I don't know.
Kristallnacht,
Crystal Nacht.
the night of the broken glass.
You
That
know what
was the
I've heard?
first time that
I've
they became violent.
I've read. I think
You see how
I.
important it is to
Mm-hmm.
go through the steps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now what's happening? In Kristallnacht, they murdered over 100 Jews. They destroyed over 7,500 stores and
Are these
synagogues.
civilians? These are
And they,
people that rioted. These are
yeah,
not army members.
no,
No,
civilians.
civilians. Okay.
And at the same time, he had his groups, the SA, the SS, okay, that did all of those things. But this was
Mm-hmm.
done in Austria, not in
Right.
Germany,
Right. Mm-hmm.
okay? Well, Germany too. I'm sorry. So anyway, and this was sponsored by the state, and they put in prison 30,000. Okay, there was a priest in Germany that found out that something is happening in Austria.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of the Operation T4?
I don't think so.
No. They took mentally and physically ill Germans that were considered by the Nazis as a financial burden on the state,
Mm-hmm.
and they put them. Okay, they did medical experiments on them, and they gassed them. Okay, interestingly enough, a priest, and this is the power of one voice, found out about it, made it public in Germany because the T4 was done only in Austria at that time.
Mm-hmm.
There was an outcry nationwide. And guess what?
Hmm.
The killing stopped, but not before. Okay? They murdered, they gassed over 200,000 mentally and physically ill Germans. Do you know what
Horrible.
happened to the priest?
Was he murdered?
Absolutely nothing. That's what I'm trying to instill in the young people. Okay, the power, okay, that you have to believe in what you want to say and say it firmly,
Mm-hmm.
okay, with conviction. Anyway, let me ask you a question. Many people believe that Hitler is the greatest criminal. Do you know there was somebody else bigger than him?
Are you referring? I assume you're not, but are you referring to Mengele?
No,
No.
Stalin. The Germans
Mm-hmm.
murdered 11 million people, 6 million Jews, 5 million non-Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't, okay, except the T4, okay, with the mentally and physically ill, he did not murder the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
Stalin, on the other hand, on the average, murdered 25 million of his own people. And very few people know about that, very few people talk about it. So, anyway, comes
Mm-hmm.
the next stage. And I mentioned to you, to your audience, the power of a voice.
Mm-hmm.
The next stage comes September 1st, 1939. Obviously, you know what happened.
Yes, I do.
Say it again.
Well, the war was September 1st, 1939 to
December 1st.
September 2nd,
September 1st.
1945, right? I mean, it,
Pardon me?
it
No.
was September to September 1939 to 1945, right?
Yes.
That's World War II.
Okay. That's the war. But it started, okay, in Poland.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There wasn't, okay, so, uh,
It was the ghetto invasion?
pardon me?
Was it the ghetto invasion?
I'm sorry?
The invasion in the
Say it
ghettos?
again. No, no, I'm talking about right now, September 1st, 1939. World War II started.
Yes.
They attacked Poland.
Yes.
But unlike Europe, which was occupied,
Mm-hmm.
Poland was annexed. And that became part of the greater Germany. So
Mm-hmm.
in Germany proper, they did not want any Jews.
Mm-hmm.
And in Poland, they
Mm-hmm.
found 3.3 million Jews. What the hell do you do with them?
Yeah. Yeah.
That came the idea of extermination, mass extermination. Okay? Until then, they did it in not en masse.
They
Now,
they they forced them out, but it wasn't until going into Poland that they started full on extermination camps.
right.
I see.
Okay. Uh, but when they started, okay, they did not have yet the dead camps, the
Okay.
concentration camps. They
Mm-hmm.
started to build them. So I don't know if you know or not, but okay, there were two articles in 2013 in Daily Mail, London, and the New York Times that the Nazis and their collaborators had 42,500 different type of camps. Not all of them were barbed wire. In the meantime, they have discovered additional mass graves. The number has risen to over 44,000, but only six were dead camps: Auschwitz-Birkenau,
Mm-hmm.
Treblinka, Belzec, Sobibor, Chelmno, and Majdanek.
Mm-hmm.
They did not have yet, okay, dead camps. Uh, the next stage that comes is June 22nd, 1941. In Operation Barbarossa, the Germans broke their agreement with the former Soviet Union
Mm-hmm.
not to attack each other, and they attacked former Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
Behind them were special killing groups, Einsatzgruppen. Their job was to murder the Jews and Russians.
Mm-hmm.
Behind them were the Romanian troops.
Mm-hmm.
And the Romanian troops annexed an area of the former Soviet Union, which today is Ukraine, okay, called Transnistria. And that's why we were deported by the Romanians and not by the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
So the Romanians deported my parents and I to a labor camp in Transnistria called Mogilev Podolsk. And I talked about it on the first segment,
Mm-hmm. You did. Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes, you did. Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, the okay the you can see how things escalate,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I want the young people, especially today, to
Mm-hmm.
see the signs of today and to react in time and
Mm-hmm.
appropriately, and
Yeah.
hopefully learning from history to prevent future tragedies. The
The
next stage
riots
and the
that
final
you've
stage.
seen, have you seen, I apologize for interrupting you. I just have this
No,
question. Have you seen, not in person, I hope, but have you seen either on the news or on social media
in
the
person. In person. When I saw the riots and everything else, I participate in counter, okay, rally.
oh, you did.
I
The
do
Free
that.
Palestine.
Yes, I do that. I talk
That's
about it.
incredible.
I
Incredible.
am not afraid. I am not afraid. Okay,
Mhm.
well, my picture has been in the Palestinian news and everything else. I'm
Mhm.
not afraid. So anyway,
Does it remind you though? I mean,
no,
does it? No.
no, I don't make comparisons. It's a different
That's
time,
right. You said don't
different
compare.
age.
You said don't compare.
I do not compare. I learn from it, and I know what I should do, and I should react. I should
Mhm.
participate in counteraction. The problem that we are having. Let me ask you a question, and then we'll go back to the Holocaust. Or you want me to finish with the Holocaust and then give you? I want to tell you an example that the media is complicit in what's happening today in this country, in
Absolutely. Why don't we?
and in the world.
I
So, do
agree.
you want me to finish? Do you
Why
want me
don't
to
you
finish with the
finish? Because
Holocaust?
I apologize for interrupting
No,
your.
no apologies
Why don't you
necessary.
finish and we'll go back to this, go back
Okay,
to
okay.
the news outlets.
So remember to ask me about a rally called No Fear.
No fear. Okay. I'm going to
Okay,
write that down so I do remember to ask you that. So please keep going.
okay. So what happened is the next and final stage is January 20, 1942,
No
in a city which today is part of Berlin, Wannsee. 15 high-ranking Nazi criminals got together to decide the final solution to the Jewish question. That is the official date of the Holocaust. That's the first time that they started to build the death camps. Okay. Now, they started with Europe. They came out with a list of all of the European countries, 11 million Jews. Once they were going to murder all of the European Jews, they were going to open up a museum in Prague, and they were going to call it the Museum of the Extinct Jewish Race. Okay?
Terrible.
Among those 15 high ranking Nazi criminals, there was a person called Adolf Eichmann. He was abducted from Argentina and tried in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time that the Holocaust survivors started to speak publicly. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, there were two trials, the
Mm.
Nuremberg trial and the Eichmann trial. The Nuremberg trial in 1945 or 46 was not about the Holocaust, it was about bringing the high ranking Nazi criminals to justice.
Mm-hmm.
In 1961, in the Eichmann trial, that was about the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
They had over 100 survivors speaking. Okay, they used every conceivable media. They showed it for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
3 hours every single day. Okay, and I use Adolf Eichmann to explain the efficiency of the Nazis and their collaborators to be able to murder 11 million people in a short time. Adolf Eichmann, towards the end of the war in 1944, in only 2 months, deported 437,000 Hungarian Jews to their deaths.
Horrible.
Okay. You understand now why it's important for me to go through,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the stages and for you people to learn. Nothing happens in a vacuum. Like in
Mm-hmm.
my particular case, I became homeless because I made a mistake. Okay? I did not put anything in writing. I gave him cash. It was my mistake. Okay?
Okay.
So nothing happens in a vacuum. And the other thing that I want to tell you is Israel is vilified disproportionately at the UN.
Yes.
Nevertheless, do you know that two Israeli resolutions have passed, okay, the General Assembly? Do you know which one they are?
No.
November 5th, okay? No, November, I think, I forgot right now. I have to check. I think it's November 5th of no, November 1, 2005.
Okay.
November 1, 2005.
Okay.
Okay? It is known today as the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. It's January 27, when Auschwitz-Birkenau, 1945, was liberated by the Red Army. The second one, and I was very honored to be part, okay, of the passing of the second resolution,
Mm-hmm.
was January 20, okay, 2022. Okay, to remind the people, January 20 is the Wannsee Conference, the final solution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
that was the 80th anniversary.
Incredible.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and this is okay. The resolution, co-sponsored by Germany, is against the Holocaust denier. Like it took many years to be the International Holocaust Remembrance Day to be remembered. This
Mm-hmm.
will also take a few years, and it will also be commemorated. The second
Right. Mm-hmm.
resolution. Okay, and I had the privilege, to be part of it. I was invited by the Israeli ambassador to the UN, and by the way, even Iran did not ask for a vote. The resolution was passed by acclamation.
Okay.
So you can see when people are reacting in time and appropriately, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things can be stopped.
Mm-hmm. Of course. I mean, of course. If someone
BDS,
speaks up.
BDS started very, very small.
What did?
It,
Sorry.
hmm?
What did you just say?
BDS,
BDS.
boycott,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
divest, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, sanction, okay, started very, very small. We as Jews did not react in time appropriately. We dismissed them.
Mm-hmm.
They started in campuses. They've
Mm-hmm.
been successful in indoctrinating. They went to high school. They succeeded. They're
Mm-hmm.
right now in middle school. And right now, it's almost impossible, okay, for the young people that have been radicalized
Mm-hmm.
to bring them back to reality.
Right.
And that's what we have to do when they're still small. Do not let them to gain power. Let's talk now about no fear. There are.
Yes, I have it written down right here to bring it back up.
Before we go there, do you have any questions about the steps that led to the attempt to annihilate all the Jewish people?
I don't have a question about the steps. I do have a question about the aftermath of it, and you kind of went into it now. I mean, once you're indoctrinized, how it must be so difficult to remove that indoctrination. I mean, I don't even know how or if, I mean, I assume that it is possible, but what could that have been like? You know, one minute you are
Okay.
against
Okay.
all Jews, and then, you
Okay.
know,
So let me tell something. Okay. People don't learn from history. Do you know what happened in Cuba in 1961? What Kennedy did?
a little bit, yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what it was?
No, I
Kennedy.
am too afraid to tell you. You tell,
Okay.
please, you tell me.
Kennedy told Khrushchev, remove the missiles from Cuba.
Mhm.
Khrushchev played dumb. What missiles? I don't have any missiles. He said, good,
Mhm.
I'll start World War III. All of a sudden, Khrushchev found the missiles
Fountain.
and, okay, and got away. Okay, and Khrushchev said something that people have forgotten. That's why it's important to learn from history. He said, I do not have to fight United States militarily.
Mhm.
They will destroy themselves. It took 60 years to come to the point that we are today, little by little, slowly.
Mhm.
Okay, for us to have the de-doctrination, the de-indoctrination,
Mhm.
it will take a long time. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen suddenly, but
Right.
we have to start, okay, and to gain in power. That's why my main mission in life is to educate the next generation. It's up to them
Mm-hmm.
to make the changes. One generation, the next generation. It's not going to happen suddenly.
Okay, let's go
Okay.
into
Did I answer
no
your
fear.
question?
You did. You did answer my question. Thank
Yeah.
you. But I
So
want you
no
to talk
fear.
about a no fear.
No fear. An organization that helps survivors in need like myself, Blue Card, uh, was awarded a proclamation by the mayor
Mm.
of the city, okay, and it's called a Blue Card, the Blue Card Holocaust Survivor Day. That's the proclamation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I, with another survivor, were there for the photo op,
That's
and
incredible.
I had a cap from the rally where I was in Washington D.C. that it said "No fear."
Mm.
And the mayor constantly said, I love it. This is wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love no fear. So he said it so often that finally I felt compelled and I gave it to him.
You gave.
I did. But
No, you're
why was
talking
the no
about
fear?
Eric Adams, right? Like you're talking about the
Yes,
mayor of New.
yes.
Okay.
It just happened, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, recently.
Incredible. So the mayor has your cap from this rally.
Yes. Okay. And he put it on for a photo shoot and they're very proud of it.
Mm.
Okay. Why was that hat so important to me? There was a national rally in Washington, D.C., I think about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Almost every Jewish major organization co-sponsored it. They expected several 100,000 people to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Only 3,000 showed up. They had wonderful speakers. They had a senator. They had a congressman.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single Jewish leader was there.
Hmm.
And the media was not there. And nobody knows about it. Nothing can be accomplished, and that's what I tell the young people. You have to take example from Martin Luther King Jr., march nationwide, bring other people together,
Mm-hmm.
especially bring the media.
Mm-hmm.
Without the media, nothing will be accomplished. I have asked hundreds of people, have you heard of, okay, No Fear Rally?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody heard of it.
Now you mentioned, I don't know if this was to me privately or if this was on air during this episode or the last, but that the the media is very biased.
Correct.
Now, how does one bring the media if the media refuses to actually, or if certain media outlets refuse to actually document the truth?
Well, like anything else, okay, you are in the media,
Mm-hmm.
okay? You are
Mm-hmm.
part of the media. I am
Sure.
part of the media in my own small way, although I don't have the reach that you have. Maybe, okay, I don't know. The only thing that I can say is we have to speak up and
Mm-hmm.
to tell the truth. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are trying to embellish it. They are trying to make it sound nice, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
I think the
not
worst part is that they try to justify.
right. Okay. Uh, I give you the example, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
that a Jewish prime, former prime minister
Mm-hmm.
used the wrong words,
Mm.
West Bank.
Right. West Bank.
Okay, what do you want from the regular people?
Right.
Okay, if a prime minister cannot think in terms that, okay, it's Judea and Samaria. Judea and Samaria is our homeland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not recognized by the world, so call it disputed territory. But whether you like it or not, we as Jews consider it it's our homeland. You cannot
Mm-hmm.
occupy. Italians cannot occupy Italy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Iranians cannot
Right.
occupy Iran.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot occupy. When you use West Bank, the first thing that comes to mind is occupation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we have, as an individual, as a Jew, as a regular person, don't have to be Jewish,
Mm-hmm.
to not to be afraid to tell the truth, to tell how it is.
Yeah, I
And
think
take
so
a look, for
many.
instance, take a look at, for instance, with Hamas, to
Mm-hmm.
give an example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have a lot of students
Mm-hmm.
that reacted inappropriately in many campuses.
Oh yeah.
There were no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why wouldn't they escalate? The same thing that would happen with the Holocaust. There were no
Right.
consequences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, it's frightening.
there have to be consequences. You have students coming from the Middle East. They're received with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
You dare to go out on the street and scream death to Israel, death to America,
Mm-hmm.
global intifada?
Yeah.
If you do that, that is not freedom of speech. That's incitement. That's hate
Yes.
speech.
Yes.
And people don't react to it. If you hate the country, the United States, so much,
Leave.
why are you here?
Yeah. Go.
Don't leave. Deport them.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Okay? Look, are the Muslims are all the Muslims bad? Of course not. But
No.
they have several billion people. So even if it's half a percent, less than 1%, there are a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the media picks up what they are saying. Don't give them the publicity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of publicity coming from these campuses.
In misrepresentation. Now, I'm not going to use the name because I never attack people. I attack what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard a celebrity saying that the Holocaust is not about race?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the apology was even worse than the initial one.
I know
Okay?
exactly what you're talking about. And who?
And I was on TV.
You were there?
Not there. I was on TV, okay, giving an answer.
Okay.
It's on YouTube. And I
Okay.
said, I do not believe that she should have been punished. I don't believe in punishment.
Okay. Expand. Expand on that.
But the damage that she has done is absolutely tremendous because young people will not do the research.
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you, Hitler and Joseph Goebbels, they said a lie told long enough
Mm-hmm.
becomes truth.
Right.
They will take her words.
People are taking opinions and turning them into fact without them actually being fact.
Correct. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the propaganda. That is the danger of the social media and not reacting appropriately. And that's why the only way we can do it is to educate. What your audience right now, whether they know it or not, had they been educated in something that will give him, food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if they thought in this one way, maybe now learning from me, okay, they will think in a different way and they will hopefully act on, okay, the different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But each one of us can make a difference in this world. I'll give an example,
Mm-hmm.
two examples.
Okay.
Young kids, a 17-year-old student, okay, uh, found out that I've never been in northern Kentucky.
Okay.
And he invited me to northern Kentucky, and he
Okay.
arranged on his own to be in 8 different cities, to be in Cincinnati, okay, to get a tour of the city,
Oh.
to be at the Holocaust Museum over there, at the Railway Underground Museum,
Mm-hmm.
to speak at the library to the general public. Okay, and I spoke to about 5,000 people.
Incredible.
A 17-year-old,
That's incredible.
a German student, 17-year-old,
Amazing.
concerned about the rise of Jew hatred in Germany. You notice
Enjoy.
that I did not use the word anti-Semitism?
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I have to train myself. Okay. So concerned about it, she wanted to talk to a Holocaust survivor.
hmm
Okay. Bashir meant to be. I
I
was the one.
love the term bashert. I use it all the time.
It's a Yiddish word,
Yiddish.
a combination of Hebrew and German. So
hmm
anyway, she wanted to bring me to Germany.
hmm
And I said, well, I live under the poverty line, okay, and okay, somebody has to sponsor my trip. She said, why don't you go to go found me?
Mm-hmm.
And I say, I will never do that.
Mm-hmm.
On her own, on her own,
Mm-hmm.
okay, she raised 963 euros to bring me to Germany.
Oh my goodness.
Arranged for me a place to stay, not in a hotel, somebody to host me. I've been, I think, 14 different presentations. A Jewish museum where I was there. I was also, for instance, also at a museum, okay, with the SS,
Mm-hmm.
okay, uh, mistreated a lot of people, tortured a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
okay. It was a former prison,
Mm-hmm.
okay, run by the SS.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to about 14. I gave 14 presentations.
Wow.
And I also have the tendency to have a student or an adult, okay, to moderate. Okay,
Okay.
she was supposed to moderate in one of the cities.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who wanted to moderate?
Who?
The mayor.
Oh,
I also
incredible.
spoke at uh, military bases. So at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the second lieutenant, he was supposed to be the moderator. He invited me.
Mm.
He calls me and he says, Sammy, would you mind if somebody else will moderate instead of me? I said, no problem. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who it was? The
Who?
lieutenant colonel. So what I'm trying to say is that each one of us,
Mm-hmm.
you are making a difference with your podcast.
Mm.
I am making a difference with a different audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so each one of us, if we are doing what we are passionate about, what
Mm-hmm.
we are interested in,
Mm-hmm.
it's a way to bring other people together,
Mm-hmm.
to change their perspectives, to have discussions, dialogues,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And eventually we will change the world. But it will take time.
That's incredible, Sammy. I thank you so much for I feel like you gave us all a presentation. Thank you so much. 2 episodes down. I hope you come back.
Anytime you want,
Thank you.
okay?
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
I hope that you have also learned something,
Oh, I have learned more than something. I have learned a lot. And I look
okay?
forward to getting to know you more. I can't wait to see
Right.
you in New York.
And I was shocked when I was at the campus,
hmm
and Jewish students had no idea how the Holocaust happened. And that's why I started to do that.
No, I
So
think
it's
it's
something.
incredible. I think if you don't know or understand how something starts, how can you prevent it again?
Exactly. Oh, I'll give you a personal example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in 1997,
Mm-hmm.
I fell on the street and I wound out myself in the hospital.
Oh no. Ay.
for a week. They did all the tests, blah, 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 blah. Everything is fine. So I asked them, how can I prevent it
Mhm.
in the future? He
Mhm.
said, since we don't know what caused it, we cannot tell you.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. If you don't learn from history, and you heard that expression a million times,
Mhm.
history will repeat itself in a different form, but it will repeat itself. And this is what we are witnessing today. The hatred is unbelievable, especially
Unbelievable.
Jew hatred.
Mhm. And it just goes to show that people say there's a rise in Jew hatred. I wouldn't characterize it as a rise. I would think people are more comfortable being themselves, which is they dislike Jews.
Right. And I also tell the young people that to the world, you may be one person.
Mhm.
To one person, you are the world. We are interconnected. What's happening to me affects you, affects my neighbor, affects other people. So
Mm.
we have to work together. And you want to give you an example what cooperation does?
Yes.
Remember when I told you that the first country that accepted officially Jewish refugees
Mhm.
was Dominican Republic?
Mhm.
Trujillo was no hero, okay? But that's besides the point. Okay, they were able to save less than 500 people because to go to Dominican Republic, you have to go through the United States. In 1941, okay, United States entered World War II.
Mhm.
Okay, the people that came were from Germany. They didn't know about agriculture. They did not know Spanish, but they worked together with the local people.
Mhm.
They intermarried. The kids went to school. They learned about each other's culture,
Mhm.
and they built a beautiful city called Sosua. Okay,
Okay.
and today in Sosua, there is a museum telling the story how the city was created.
Mm.
So you see what happens
Yeah.
when people cooperate, when they work together.
Coexist. And
Right, right,
yeah, I think it's incredible. Thank you so
right.
much, Sammy. Thank you.
My honor, my pleasure.
No, my honor.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Okay, then in that particular case, we belong to a mutual, okay, admiration society. Okay,
Yes. Yes. I agree.
okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay,
Thank you so much. We're no longer recording. Just
right.
wanted to. That was incredible. Yeah, my husband wanted